Have you ever left a conversation feeling more exhausted than when you entered it? At 74, James Bennett from Asheville, North Carolina, doesn't just understand that feeling, he lives it. A quiet morning man, James spends his time tending to his tomatoes, sipping coffee by the window, and reading classic American novels. But lately, his peace has been interrupted, not by noise, but by people. And that's the thing about growing older. We think the biggest challenges will be health, mobility, or memory. But more often than not, it's the emotional landscape that changes most. The realization that not everyone belongs in the sacred space you've built within yourself. When you reach your 70s or 80s, you begin to understand that life is no longer about chasing, it's about choosing. Choosing peace over pressure. Choosing presence over performance. Choosing relationships that feel like shelter, not storms. So let's explore 5 types of people you may need to gently step away from, not out of coldness, but out of care for your soul. 1. The emotional load bearers, people who quietly deplete you. Carolyn, 76, from Tempe, Arizona, once described her daily phone calls with an old friend as an emotional treadmill. You're moving, but you're not going anywhere, and by the end, you're just out of breath. That friend, Judy, never yelled. She never insulted. But she did something far worse. She pulled Carolyn into a sea of endless complaint and fear every single day. At first, it felt noble to listen. But over time, Carolyn began skipping meals, sleeping poorly, and feeling low for no reason she could name, until she realized she was carrying someone else's emotional weather. There's a sacred truth here. Empathy doesn't mean drowning with someone. It means staying close enough to care, but distant enough to breathe. As we age, our emotional reserves shrink, not because we're fragile, but because we've spent a lifetime giving. Now, we have the right to refill. Your body keeps the score. That tight chest after a call, that ache in your shoulders, it's not random. It's your soul whispering, "Please protect me." Carolyn now reserves that hour for walking, journaling, or playing soft jazz while watching the hummingbirds. She still loves Judy. But now, she loves herself a little more. You can hold compassion without holding the burden. 2. The guilt givers in the family. Love shouldn't come with strings. Family is a source of joy, but sometimes it's also a source of manipulation wrapped in warmth. Denise, 79, of Boise, Idaho, had always been the rock of her family. Birthdays, holidays, babysitting, you name it. But lately, she began to notice something. Her presence was no longer a gift, it was an expectation. Every weekend, she found herself rearranging her quiet life to serve others. When she tried to reclaim her space, subtle guilt would follow. "But the kids miss you. We're counting on you. You wouldn't say no to your grandbabies, would you?" At first, she second-guessed herself. Am I being selfish? But then, she remembered something. Love is not measured by sacrifice. It's measured by sincerity. When someone uses guilt instead of gratitude, they're not connecting, they're controlling. Here's what we must all remember after 70. You are not a resource. You are a human being. You are not here to be mined. You are here to be cherished. Denise didn't slam any doors. She simply said, "This Sunday, I'm spending time with me." And the world kept turning. But her spirit stood still, for the first time in years. Setting boundaries isn't a betrayal. It's a way of honoring the life you still have left. 3. Those who dismiss your wisdom, the quiet erosion of confidence. Gerald, 81, from Little Rock, Arkansas, once taught automotive repair to high schoolers. He could fix an engine blindfolded. But one day, when offering car advice to his teenage grandson, he was met with, "I'll just ask Google, Grandpa." It was said with a smirk, but it left a scar. You see, being ignored doesn't just silence your words, it slowly silences your sense of worth. When people speak over you, dismiss your experience, or treat your perspective as outdated, they don't just disrespect you. They rob the room of wisdom. We are in an age obsessed with speed and youth. But there is a quiet rebellion in slowing down, and listening to someone who has lived through decades of storms and still has stories to tell. Every wrinkle, every scar, every laugh line carries a lesson. And when others fail to see that, the loss is not yours, it's theirs. But when you internalize that disregard, when you begin to believe them, you become smaller than the life you've earned. Gerald now shares his stories in a local veteran circle. He says, "They don't just listen. They lean in. Find people who lean in. And never mistake your silence for humility when it was born from disrespect." 4. The chronic complainers, when negativity becomes contagious. Miriam, 72, from Bellingham, Washington, describes herself as an optimist by nature. But a year ago, that optimism began to erode, not from hardship, but from habit. Specifically, from a weekly coffee date with Linda, a friend who never had anything good to say. From the news to her knee pain to the neighbors, nothing escaped Linda's disapproval. And Miriam started to notice something. She was laughing less, sleeping worse, dreading Wednesdays. Here's why. Negativity isn't neutral. It's viral. Your brain is wired to absorb the emotional cues of those around you. This is called emotional contagion, and it's as real as catching a cold. Especially in your later years, your emotional hygiene becomes just as important as your physical health. After 70, you have the right to choose joy, to protect lightness, to curate your environment like it's sacred, because it is. Miriam switched her Wednesdays to yoga instead. Her breathing got deeper. Her smile returned. And that's what this is all about. Choosing the people who nourish, not numb. Who uplift, not unload. 5. The age deniers, those who shame you for embracing your years. Oscar, 77, from Albany, New York, used to build houses. Now, he builds birdhouses and peace of mind. But his cousin Dale never understood that. Always pushing. Always teasing. "Come on, you're not that old. You just need to get back in the gym." It sounded like motivation, but it felt like mockery. Because underneath it all, Dale couldn't accept aging. And so, he pressured Oscar not to either. But aging is not failure. It's a deepening. A refining. Oscar realized something one morning while drinking his coffee on the porch. He was finally living life on his own terms. Not in rebellion, not in resistance, but in rhythm. And anyone who couldn't honor that rhythm didn't belong in the front row of his life anymore. There is profound beauty in slowing down, in listening more than speaking, in resting instead of rushing. You don't need to perform youthfulness to prove worth. You are the worth. Live slow. Live soft. Live strong in a different way. So let me ask you gently, who are you ready to release? Not with anger. Not with bitterness. But with clarity. With softness. With the understanding that peace is a boundary well kept. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means making space. For joy, for stillness, for self. You've spent a lifetime caring for others. Let this be the season where you care deeply for yourself. Surround yourself with those who honor your time, who celebrate your stories, who meet your boundaries with grace, not guilt. This isn't isolation. It's liberation. The kind that whispers, "You've earned this." Thank you for sharing this space with us. We'd love to hear your voice. What did this video stir in you? What are you ready to claim or let go of? Leave a comment below. Like, subscribe, share. Because together, we're not just growing older, we're growing wiser, deeper, and more ourselves than ever before. Until next time, protect your peace like it's the most valuable thing you own. Because now, it is.